Hello and welcome back to the Resilience Reef. Hello everyone, wherever you are in the world. This is a Resilience Reef for helping people to manage chronic health conditions. So we share great stories, who bring great strategies to share with people who have chronic health problems. So on my show today, we have special guest Audrey Zannese. How are you, Audrey?
I'm very good, thank you, Karen, and thank you for inviting me to the show. It's absolutely great.
Beautiful to have you here. Now, Audrey you're in the UK right now, is that
Yes,
correct?
yes, I am in Leeds in Yorkshire.
In Leeds in Yorkshire, right up the street from where I used to live in Sheffield. So very much connected, kindred spirit I am today with you, for sure. Leeds is a beautiful place.
Yeah, it is nice. It is quite vibrant.
Yeah. You don't have a Yorkshire accent though, Audrey. Tell us about that.
No, I am French. So I come from the southwest of France. And I came to the UK in 2005 to do my PhD.
And what was your PhD in?
Biological sciences.
Biological sciences. You are quite a bright young lady then, for sure. Yeah. Very humble as well. What brought you to the UK to do your PhD? What was it?
Ooh, well, clearly the topic of my PhD was the main reason I chose it. So I was working on the impact of environmental perturbations on life history traits and population sizes and things like effects of climate change. For instance, I worked with deer, with butterflies, with many things through my time in research.
Beautiful. And so today we're talking, or particularly Audrey's going to be talking about a chronic health condition and where it all started, and also, the journey that she's taken and how she's got to where she is today, the kind of things that's helped her with caring and managing for a chronic health condition. So take you back to the beginning in terms of what was it for you that signaled really that something wasn't quite right? What was the kind of signs and symptoms you were getting?
Well, it happened very suddenly. The first symptom I had was a massive optic neuritis on my left eye. So I went to bed one night and I woke up the next morning and I see nothing, absolutely nothing through my left eye. It's like a big sun in there. So I was 24 at the time. My parents, they rushed me to the hospital. We do all the tests. They gave me steroid injections, keep me in the hospital for a couple of days. And slowly I start to recover. So at the time I was having this optic neuritis, MS was mentioned. They did say it could be multiple sclerosis. So contrary to some other people who may have maybe less obvious symptoms, for me, the diagnosis was quite quick because from the first things, they already mentioned MS. I'm going to say at the time, I didn't want to hear about it. It probably was too scary. I made a big denial. I just decided I've got a career there. I want to live my life. You're saying nonsense to me. I'm just gonna recover and I'm gonna be okay. Yeah. Now, I had other flares afterwards that I didn't necessarily associate as well to MS. I remember once I had pins and needles in my legs for several days, quite strong. But at the time, I think it was actually when I had come for the interview for the PhD, and I associated it with, I was probably wearing trousers that were too tight in the plane. That's where it's coming from. I even didn't, realize it could be MS. And eventually had another flare in the other eye. And at that point, I thought, okay, I need to get the truth there. I cannot deny this anymore. And I had a lumbar puncture because I was a bit on the edge in terms of the number of lesions I had on the MRI, the number of flares I've had, to really confirm I had the lumbar puncture. I was diagnosed with MS. And then we had to start speaking about treatment, which I actually didn't take until the next flare a year later. Because even once I was diagnosed, I was just like, okay, well, now I know what it is. It's all right. I'm going to manage. I'm going to live my life.
Sure. And I don't think that is an uncommon reaction, is it, Audrey? I know you work a lot with people with chronic health conditions, and it's certainly from what I hear from my experiences and what people talk about, there is a sense that how can that cause that? How can I possibly go from that to that? It's not, there's nothing to worry about, and it is a big shock to your system, isn't it? That you were going somewhere on a path, on a journey that way, and suddenly you're taken somewhere different, and it's very hard to accept. It's difficult to contemplate where you might end up, and you presumably didn't know where you were going to end up. You didn't know much about
that was the worst. That was absolutely the worst, I think, for me, who was such a big planner with, I had everything planned. I knew exactly where I was going to do my PhD, where I was going to do my postdoc and everything. And you're hit with this diagnosis of a condition that basically is all about uncertainty, because you don't know, they can't tell you how the condition is going to evolve, when you're going to have the next flare. And even percentages, they can't, they don't know. So here you are with something that makes you very vulnerable and completely out of control. Sure. And that for me was unbearable. I couldn't stand it.
Isn't it? Yeah. So how did you deal with that? How did you manage to come to terms with that?
Oh, so my journey started when I started the treatment. So at the time I was doing the PhD in England, but I couldn't face taking the treatment here because I didn't have any family, or I didn't know that many people yet. I think it had been only a year. So I decided to go back to France to start the treatment, to have my family around. And I met a French neurologist, and he was seeing how scared probably I was. And he told me, why don't you do sophrology? Okay. So sophrology is not very well known in the English-speaking world, but in France, it's quite popular. And
I'm going to write the word on here, because I don't think it's a word that many people have heard. It sounds very French. The way you say it sounds very French.
It's got a Greek root, but yes.
Yeah. So I've just put the word sophrology on there so people can see it.
Thank you.
You can kind of get a sense now of what you're talking about.
So in France, it's quite famous, actually. It's very popular. We have many sophrologists. And I knew about sophrology, not very much, because let me tell you, at that time, I wasn't into complementary therapies or yoga or meditation or any form of things like this. So, when the neurologist told me you should try sophrology, my first reaction was like, wait, how is this woo-woo thing is going to help me? At the same time, I was in such a bad place. I knew I couldn't stay where I was. And if it was a neurologist recommending it, then it was probably worth a try. So I ended up going to see a sophrologist. And yes, I came to her with a little diagram of the things that had happened to me, what I was making sense of this, with my big intellectualization skills, and where I wanted to be and what I needed to get done, which was a very, it can be a good approach, but that's not necessarily the approach with sophrology.
Did
So
she know? Did she know very much about MS, Audrey, when you went to see her? Was she somebody
she
who knew about it?
she wasn't a specialist, but yes, she knew about it, and she probably did her research anyway. Even if but I think she had people with MS as well. She had already worked with such clients. So here I was. I decided to try sophrology, and I had a bit of a sophrology boot camp because I was back in France for 3 weeks, and so I needed to deal with the side effects of the treatment and make sure that the treatment would go well and make sure I would calm down.
So how many
And
sessions did you have? Like, can you remember?
I
Like, how many
probably
times?
had in the space of 3 weeks, I probably had 6 sessions. 6 sessions, plus I did a little extra at some point. One weekend, she did a little workshop with a few people that I joined. So that's why I speak about sophrology bootcamp.
So you really immersed yourself into this thing that you'd had, chucking yourself into the unknown and being very brave and courageous because you were in such a bad way. And I think that's very common to try anything when we're in a bad way. But for you, so what happened? Did you take to it? Did you like it? Like a fish to water?
I mean, that's what was fantastic, is that after the first session, I could go back home and I could do something for myself. So straight away, there were some exercises I could do. And very quickly, here I was guiding myself through my sophrology routine and sessions and doing the exercises. And this, I didn't realize at the time, but actually what it was is that it was so empowering because there was something I could do that I realized what was making me feel well and feel good, as I could do for myself. And that was that first step to taking back control.
Yeah.
And I really used it initially with the side effects of the treatment. So I would do a sophrology session on the day of my treatment. I was having a weekly injection, intramuscular injections. I would do it just before I would do the injection. I would do a little something after, and the next day, and I barely had any side effects of the treatment.
Oh, smashing! That's really good.
It was really good, and I reached it was so calming. I was like an inner calm that I hadn't really necessarily experienced before. That was quite a big change for me.
Yeah.
And so,
in what time period was that? Like, what time period from starting it and that getting that first sense of, this kind of, I like this. This is working, to the point where you felt empowered and confident and in control. How long did that kind of? What
a
was
few
the period
weeks.
of time?
It was a few weeks. It really was quick. So I did throw myself into it, as you said. From the time I took the decision, okay, I'm going to give this a try. I did decide I'm really going to give it a try. So every day I was practicing, and I carried on practicing almost for 2 years, like every single day. And within a few weeks, because I remember I was back in England, I can't exactly remember the when, but it was a few weeks within me starting the treatment and sophrology. I remember I come out from my flat and I feel well. I feel content. I was positive. I was hopeful. I was confident. I didn't feel I had this hanging sword over my head anymore. I was just like, I'm okay. Whatever life is going to throw at me, I know I've got it in me to deal with it. And that was my resilience for me, Karen. It was this quiet confidence that I started to build, that the challenges I would experience, because there will be challenges, of course, life goes on, but I knew that I had something in me that I would be able to learn and overcome and grow from those challenges.
So from denial to belief.
Exactly.
And feeling that you've got what you
Quite
need
a
to do.
journey.
Yeah,
Quite a
in not so
journey.
long a time. So that is stunning. And that's what we need. We need those kind of tricks and tools and techniques and strategies to be able to do it ourselves, because we can't rely on other people, and other people are not always going to be there for us to rely on them. And we have to find ways ourselves to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and figure out a way through it. And these are some great tools, aren't they, to have in your toolkit. And it sounds like a very easy thing. If you came away from the session after just one session and you were using them on yourself and feeling good about that and finding comfort and kind of some sense of resolve and reward from that, it's it's just so good to have those incredible tools at your disposal.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with sophrology is, I mean, just for the people who listen and who may never have heard of it, it's a kind of mix between Western relaxation techniques and Eastern meditative practices. So the founder, who was a neuropsychiatrist, started looking at relaxation techniques like Jacobson's progressive relaxation, hypnosis, autogenic Schultz training, and then he went into yoga, Buddhist meditation, Japanese Zen, and the way he structured all these influences into one method is sophrology. That's what makes sophrology unique. The way it's structured, but the various exercises, they come from different places, and you may have experienced them in another way. But really, how flexible and adaptable it is and how easy it is to implement in your day-to-day life. That's really what grabbed me. So it doesn't take that long. Like when I practice for myself, my own sessions, now they're maybe 15, 20 minutes long on a day-to-day. And then through the day, I use little exercises depending on what I need. Because I wouldn't at the time I started, I could now, but you couldn't ask me to sit for a meditation of an hour and sit down and just do nothing.
I could never do that.
And similarly, yoga wasn't appealing to me at the time. I couldn't see myself holding postures and stuff. But with sophrology, there is this very subtle mix of gentle body movements, visualization, breathing, concentration exercises, and in a kind of not too long a period. And so it's a right balance. I mean, it certainly was something I felt I could do easily.
And it sounds like it's something you can do if you've got just 5 minutes or if you want to spend an hour on it. It sounds like, depending on what you're using it for and why you're using it, the flexibility is built in so that you can just choose to the building blocks that you need in order to do that. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, but you're not using all the jigsaw pieces, I suppose.
Yes, it's about, and it's also this, what I like is that you can listen to what you need. A big part in sophrology is reconnecting with the body. And so as well with your own practice, you start building that connection because you can on the day listen, okay, how I feel, what is it? And then you decide which exercise you're going to do. You decide which parts of the body need your attention, what is it that you need, and you build that strong relationship with your body.
Great. It sounds awesome. It sounds good. And it sounds doable for, especially when you've got a chronic health condition and it's still unmanaged, or that your disease could flare up at any time. It might currently be okay in remission, but it's that kind of a disease where it could raise its head at any time. That you've got it within you. It's a resource that you have within you. You can carry it around. It's like hypnosis, hypnotherapy. What I use, it's like you only need your voice and your mind in order to deal with this and do it, because it's a resource you carry around with you anywhere you go, isn't it? To deal with whatever is going on at the time. Yeah. So it's very, very adaptable, very flexible, and it's certainly, by the sounds of things in your story, it's certainly helped you go from that bad place you were back then to certainly, feeling very confident and full of life now and able to move forward.
Yes, it's been transformational. I still can't really explain it. It's something you experience, and it's hard sometimes to put into words. But I am convinced that the practice of sophrology is what got me through it. Because also I experienced, we're all humans. I did fall off the wagon at some point. I stopped practicing. I took it for granted. And I could see myself spiraling down. And you know what? It's at that point I started really experiencing side effects of the treatment, and
Yeah.
things were not great. And so I started practicing again, and I started feeling better again, and the side effects started to recede.
Mm.
So very interesting what we can do with just being connected to ourselves, as you said, and it's just amazing resources we have within us.
Well, it's great that you were able to come on the show and share your knowledge of sophrology and to share, what it is, what it does, how it's helped you. Because I think a lot more people are going to know about it now and be able to, talk about it and access it. It sounds like a great resource to use. So you got great benefits from it. It's been a transformational tool for you to use for yourself. So you decided to take it that step further and be able to share, help other people to manage their chronic health condition too, right? So what can people do if they want to get hold of you and they want to be able to experience something, to see if it's for them? Because you went completely out of your head, completely rational, intellectualizing to very much within your body and listening to your body and very much a different kind of way of being, I think it sounds. And if people are like you and just can't get the result they want, what's the best way for them to find you?
Yes, so to find me, you can go on my website. It's stepintosophrology.co.uk. And if you want to see a little bit more about what sophrology is, I do actually offer monthly free taster sessions. So people can just easily sign up and join a session for free so that they see what it's about. I also offer one-to-one services. So this is where we can bespoke the exercises to the person's needs, really being there with the protocols that are exclusive for that person. I also offer courses. And yes, I specialize in helping women who are living with chronic illnesses, chronic fatigue, chronic pain. No matter the amount of energy or pain you are in the day, so that's adaptable and flexible. You can do it lying down, standing up, sitting. We're really adaptable.
Sounds awesome. Definitely what people like us need in our toolkit for sure. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it, and I really enjoyed learning more about it. And I'll be able to look that up and figure out what that is, and probably come on one of your videos, your events, and have an experience. That would be awesome.
Thank you so much,
find
Karen.
out a bit more about that. So we're going to leave you with that today, and we hope you've enjoyed the show, and have a great day wherever you are. Bye for now.